Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this morning's webinar. So today we're going to talk about artificial intelligence is the next big thing in invoice automation. I'm very happy that there are so many of you who are joining this webinar this morning, and we have lots of slides, lots of topics we're going to cover this morning. So please pay attention to the slideshow because slides are moving very fast this morning. So who are we? Mika, please.
Thank you, Tuomas. So my name is Mika Savolainen, COO in Snowfox, and as you can see, holding this webinar from the home office. So my background is from the finance outsourcing business and an B2B software business already over 20 years. I'm happy to be part of the Snowfox team. And then we have my colleague Tuomas here, please.
Yes, Tuomas Hapsari is my name and head of growth in Snowfox. So basically working with our existing and new customers every day. Yes, Mika, what are we going to talk during this session?
Yeah, we have an excellent agenda for this morning. And as said, we are focusing on what AI can do in the non-PO invoice automation, which is let's say the topic, or the API automation as a topic is an old thing, has been done for a long time, and there has been a certain ways of doing that, mainly on the rule, based on the rules of the API automation. The systems itself, the AP systems, the ERP system, they are offering the ways of doing the automation, but there are definitely certain limits how much you can achieve with the reasonable work amount, relying on the systems what they can support. And the AI actually, that's something totally new, where this let's say, I would say that it's a change of paradigm here, that what really can be done with the AI. For example, now today we are talking about how to automate the AP and especially the non-PO invoices. And the agenda today basically is covering this. So how the AI can help you to more automate the AP process. So we first go through the current states, then we explain what the AI can do there, how the AI works, and then some other capabilities what we can provide, or what's available when the AI is used. And at the end, we also have a great offer for you. But please, Tuomas.
Yes, thanks, Mika. Yeah, let's start. And there's a question or control panel you can see. So please send us questions. There are many of you online, and I know that you are having great questions, and maybe someone would like to challenge us at some point and so on. So please send us your questions, and we will take them during the webinar and answer them live. So let's have some conversation during the webinar. But when we talk about invoice automation and AI capabilities regarding that, so first question is that, can you tell what is your current invoice automation level? And how much invoices you are actually handling manually nowadays? Or how much time does invoice handling take every day in your company regarding accounts payable team and the business side? And when we talk about invoice automation, so typically invoice automation is seen mostly as PO, like purchase order matching, contract matching, and coding templates. I know all of you who are online today are professionals, so you know what these mean. But just shortly, PO matching means that invoices are being matched automatically to the PO numbers in the invoice. Contract matching works pretty much the same way. They are matched with contract numbers, reference numbers in the invoice. And then there are some coding templates that are built, for example, behind the suppliers. So some supplier sends you an invoice and it will automatically suggest a coding template for this supplier. So there are some automation capabilities nowadays, but could there be something more on top of these? Let's have an example. There's a company who is receiving 100,000 invoices annually, and 45,000 of those are PO, purchase order invoices. 10,000 are contract invoices that are being matched with contracts. But what about the rest? 45,000 invoices. Manually handled? Maybe there are some coding suggestions, coding templates in place, but most of those are nowadays being handled manually. So I don't know if that is a very good situation, because manual coding and routing of a non-PO invoice takes around 10 to 15 minutes as an average. And we can tell that that is a very painful process many times. Some invoices, of course, are being handled very easily, but in the bigger picture, the manual process is not very simple. It's not very easy. And the other question is that, okay, should we then increase purchase orders? Should we have 100% coverage of purchase orders? But making the purchase order process working 100% correctly, it is a huge process, as you know, and there are only a handful of companies that really can make this strategy work. And Mika, you have lots of experience regarding this topic. So what is your idea or opinion?
Yeah, as we know, let's say the bigger companies, they have this no PO, no pay policy, meaning that they want to have everything, all the purchases through the purchase orders. So they want to cover all the market 100% with the purchase orders. And I said, I have seen in my work history only a handful of companies. Actually, there are only a couple of those where this is working like 100% correctly, or they have been able to implement 100% this policy. And it means that there are a lot of challenges in order to do this. So I think if you like to increase the automation level in the short term, and in the short term I mean in some of the coming years, 2 or 3 years, this is not the way to do it. Of course, it's in the longer term, yes, it might work, but in the short term, there need to be other ways to do it.
Yes, and we can tell that almost all of non-contract and non-PO invoices are being coded and routed manually for reviewers and acceptors nowadays. And I don't know, that's not a very good situation nowadays, and something needs to be done. But why is it so? One really big thing is that API automation platforms do not provide sufficient solutions for non-PO invoice automation. There are these contract matching and coding templates and these, but they are not very good solutions. And building and maintaining those automation rules is very time consuming and complex work. So all those rules, every single coding template, every single contract has to be built manually to the system and maintained in the system manually. So I don't know. And what we have seen, we have like mapped hundreds and hundreds of companies' invoice handling processes. And we have seen that non-PO invoice automation is typically very low. Average automation levels are between 10 to 25%. We have seen only few companies who are having better than 25% invoice automation regarding the non-PO invoices. And some of the companies have a little bit higher routing automation level, but most of the companies are having really, really low coding or posting automation regarding non-PO invoices.
Yeah,
what this really means,
the low levels of automation in non-PO side, it means that somebody needs to do the coding or posting and also the routing. So it means that there is a time consumed you can say also wasted in accounts payable and or in business side. So somebody needs to do it, and it's a time-consuming process. It also means that it makes the circulation times longer for the invoices, and this, of course, when there is a longer circulation times, leads to other challenges in the process, which is that it might be when the invoices are processed longer, you miss the payment term discounts. There might be that your payments are late, so you will get the reminders. You maybe need to pay some extra fees because they are late. And then also, when I would say, especially what we have seen when the business is doing the coding or posting, that the quality of those codings or postings, there is a huge variety in those. And it might be all the same even when the accounts payable is doing though, especially when there is a new employee coming in. So the reporting quality varies, and it's visible also in the end reporting.
Yeah, and this is why we really think that the rule-based invoice automation is history. There is still some place for rule-based invoice automation, but in the bigger picture, it is not the solution to automation. It has not been a good solution until today, and it will not be in the future as well. We don't really think so. So some other automation must be achieved for non-PO invoices as well, or otherwise we will keep on doing the manual work with those. So Miikka, what is the solution in the future?
I think the easy answer here is, as I said here, that the artificial intelligence of the AI is the key to automating the posting and routing of non-PO invoices. That really is something that is changing the way how the things are doing. And to be said here, it's not something magical or something really difficult that takes time to implement or build. It's actually very easy and quick also to implement in the use.
Yes, and Miikka, I think artificial intelligence, it has been like a buzzword for some few years already now, but companies and people have not really seen the concrete and really working solutions for artificial intelligence. And what I see sometimes is that people maybe doubt a little bit that AI, okay, I have heard of it, people talk about it, but I haven't really seen any solutions that really work. So I believe that we have some work to do to prove everybody that AI is actually working.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then in addition to your comment is that also there are many things what are told that they are based on the AI or they are utilizing AI, even though that they really are not doing that. But then I also need to say here, not to confuse, but whenever a specialist you go and ask that please define the AI for me, what does it mean? You might get a little bit different answer from everyone.
Yeah.
But anyway,
that is true.
The real AI is the kind of the logic which can do their own decisions. You can say it that way, and it kind of imitates the human decision making. That's the real AI. So this kind of if then else type of thing, that's not the real AI. So in our case, when we are utilizing the AI in order to automate the AP processes, so what we do and what we offer as a service is that there is automatic coding based on the AI. We will come back to that how it really works. How does it do the conclusions and so on. Automatic routing also, so it concludes who is the reviewer, who is the acceptor of this specific invoice. It's able to do data fetching from the invoice. Are there then PO numbers, project numbers, work orders, whatever kind of information it can fetch it from the invoice. And it doesn't matter in what format the invoice it is. Is it the invoice image, so scanned image, can be a different format. It can be EDI or electronic invoice, PDF, whatever. So it's able to fetch the information. And then there is a real-time analytics showing real-time how the AI works, what are the results, what is really doing there. So those are the things what our AI is providing.
Yes, and one thing to add maybe is regarding the AI methodology and how it works is that it is actually really easy to connect with any API automation systems. So no systems need to be changed when starting to utilize the AI, but we will talk about that later.
And our approach, a little bit coming back to what Thomas just said, our approach is described in this slide. So on the left hand, you can see the status quo. That's the typically the situation what we see in the companies when we are going and asking that how and what's your AP or non-PO invoice automation level. I said, you know, we normally see it's between 15 to 25%, and then there is a bunch of invoices that need to be manually handled in AP or in business. So on the right hand side is our approach. So when we come and I say that with AI you can really increase the automation, and we always say that you have your systems, please take everything out of those. So there are capabilities, utilize those. You have done investments, so on. So utilize the automation possibilities there. But then definitely there are still quite a big amount of invoices what are not being able to or what you are not able to automate with the systems. So on that part, the AI is the best and actually fastest way to automate, to handle those invoices. There will be, after implementing AI, also some part of the manually handled invoices. But as we can see with our customers, so when the AI services have been in use like 6 or 12 months, we are reaching 90% or even over that automation level with the AI. So to summarize, so we build our AI on top of your existing system. So we are system independent. I think we have now connected our service on 15 different systems. So we build on top of your existing automation level with your existing system and increase the automation quite quickly and quite high.
Yes, and this change from the status quo to the opportunity happens in the average of 3 weeks. So it's quite amazing how fast the change really is. Yeah. And this is like a typical comment from our customer that have you liked our service? They say that, okay, for example, this Realia Group, Taru Manner, their group financial controller, said that snowfox.ai has significantly automatized the handling of purchase invoices and brought cost savings. And results arrived immediately after the implementation, and we are very happy. Without AI, our invoice automation would not be at the current level. So yes, it is fast. The results arrive immediately after implementation, typically. So this is one of our customers. We will show you more about those customer cases and the real numbers behind those. But let's see how the invoice automation AI really works. What is the process in real life? So when you or some other company will start to utilize our AI in use, so first of all, no rules need to be created. When a company implements our AI, we start with historic invoices and related posting or coding data. So AI learns all those automation rules from historic invoices and postings. How does it work in real life? So typically AI needs from 3 months to 12 months of historic invoices, invoice images, and the related coding or posting data. And the AI model will start to go through those invoices one by one, every single invoice. So it will take a look at the invoice, what is actually included in the data, every single data point, like row level, line level data, everything. What have you purchased? What are the quantities and so on? Who has been the like a supplier and all those reference numbers, addresses, everything. And then it will have a look at the invoice image and see if there's some information missing in the invoice, XML or e-invoice. And then it will have a look at the coding. How has this invoice been coded? So it will go through every single invoice by invoice. And after going through all those invoices and all those coding data, it will kind of start to understand that and make conclusions that why are these invoices being posted or coded like they are? What are the reasons? Which data affects the most on the coding results? And it will start to build those automation rules automatically. And those rules are really complicated. And that's how the AI model is being trained, based on your historic invoices and the related coding data. And it typically takes, typically it takes 2-3 days for us to train the models and optimize those models. If that was Mika the question.
Exactly, that was the question.
Yeah, so it's pretty fast, I would say, 2-3 days, and maybe building those same rules as a for a person might take like 2-3 years, maybe. I don't know if it's even still possible to do the same thing, same work. It is so complex. Okay, when the AI model and models has been trained, it is ready to use, and it will be connected to your AP automation system. And when new invoice arrives, the AI will take the invoice and have a look at all the contents that what is included in the invoice. And then it will start to predict the coding and the routing, like reviewer and acceptor of the invoice, based on the data in the invoice and based on the historic kind of intelligence. So it will start to predict every dimension by dimension, like what is the most probable GL account, for example, most probable cost center, VAT, project code, any dimension you are using. And it will do the pre-posting and pre-routing for the invoice. And after that, the invoice will be sent to the review process based on your current processes. So to the reviewer and acceptor maybe. And if, let's have an example that the reviewer is responsible for the posting. So if a reviewer sees a mistake made by AI, for example, cost center is being predicted incorrectly. So it is very important, at least in the beginning, that the human actually corrects the cost center if there's a mistake, because every single invoice or the final posting will be sent back to the AI after the approval process. So when the invoice is actually ready to be booked and be paid, the system will send the final posting information back to the AI, so that the AI can get kind of a feedback and compare that, okay, I made this kind of a pre-posting and pre-routing, and this was the end result. This was the final posting. And it will actually compare that, was there any changes made to the posting in the approval process? If there are any changes, for example, the cost center was being corrected, the AI understands that, okay, I made a mistake and I need to learn from this mistake in the future. And this is why the AI actually will get better and better every single invoice, because there's this feedback loop. And all this is being shown in real-time analytics tool, where you can see every single invoice that are being gone through the AI models, and how well has the AI worked, and have there been any corrections or not, and if there has been some corrections, how has the AI learned over time. And please send us questions if there's something that you still might think. So,
Tuomas,
yes,
may I comment on the previous slides?
please.
Still? Yeah, so I think it's really important to highlight that where are the differences for compared to the current processes there. So I think one of the main differences here is that actually no one is creating the rules to the system. No one. The AI actually, it kind of creates or builds the rules based on the data. So the data is everything, is and only thing what is needed there, and everything is based on the data. Then I think that the other difference there is that when the invoice arrives and the AI does the conclusion, that how should I code this invoice, who should be the reviewer, who should be the acceptor. So there is not only one or two pieces of information from the invoice. When the AI does its conclusion, it reads all the information from the invoices. The invoice is so everything, the line items, everything there, and it bases the decision on all the information of what's available from the invoice. This means, so even there is a new supplier who sends the invoice, so the AI does not say that, okay, I'm not capable of doing now the coding because this is a new supplier. No, it reads all the information from the invoice, and when there are the line items, for example, so if there on the history has been similar kind of products or services bought, the AI has an understanding. So yes, so these kind of products, they were coded like this, and so on. So it proposes that, okay, actually I coded like this the invoice. I think those are the big differences here.
Oh yeah, very good, Pekka, thanks. And here's one example of our existing customer. Sorry, there's some Finnish included in this slide, but 2 points from this slide. Here in the bottom, there's this coding row or coding dimensions. The first one is GL account, which is highlighted, and it says nettimainonta. In Finnish, it means internet marketing. So when the AI predicts codings, they will end up in the same fields than they would be, coded manually by person. So there's the first thing. The next thing here, up here, there's this history, which actually includes these predictions as well. So there's this predictions, which says tili means GL account, nettimainonta, internet marketing, and then there's this percentage number behind every single dimension. And this percentage actually means, we call it, Mika, what do we call it?
Confidence level. Confidence
level, exactly. And it means that how sure or unsure the AI actually is about this prediction. So how confident the AI is. For example, with this internet marketing, AI is 100% confident that this GL account should be internet marketing. And this cost center is marketing and advertising. AI is 86% sure that it should be marketing and advertising, and so on. Area, Helsinki, 86%, and so on. So every single customer can set dimension-based thresholds. So for example, GL account can have like 80% threshold, for example, and all the predictions that are better than 80%, higher than that, will be utilized and used. And for example, if this GL account prediction would be lower than 80%, it can be even be empty. This GL account field can be left empty because AI is not that sure. So somebody should then add it manually. And we do that because of the more unsure the AI is, there might be the bigger risk of incorrect predictions. So when the AI is very sure, they are always correct. There are very few mistakes when the AI is very sure. But if AI is unsure, it's like 10-20%, it is pretty likely to be incorrect. So that's why if you think about that, AI is capable of predicting correct account for every 9 invoices out of 10, and there's one incorrect, you want to know that which one is the wrong correct. And this confidence level will tell you that, okay, this GL account prediction will be the incorrect one that you have to correct by a human. All right, Miikka, how does the AI connect with API automation systems?
Yes, and as we said, we are system independent, so we have a lot of different systems where we have connected our service. So there are mentioned some of those. So I think there are 15 currently, and more and more coming. So the basic way we connect, actually there are 2 ways. So here is presented the API interface, and then this, how we connect with the API is that there is the supplier who sends the invoice. The invoice comes through the operator. It might be that there is the scanning operator or electronic invoice operator or whoever, and then it might be that the invoices even arrive directly, so the companies are doing the scanning for themselves, for example. So the invoices arrive to the customer systems. The system first checks that when the invoice arrives, that it validates that everything is okay with the invoice, and then it checks that is it a PO invoice, so should there be a purchase order. If it finds that this invoice belongs to some purchase order, it matches that order and it goes directly to the accounting. It checks if there are some, let's say, contracts. Is it based on contract the invoice? If it is, then it matches again and goes automatically to the accounting and payment. Or if there are ready-made coding templates in place. If none of those, takes place, so there is no automation of the system, then it comes to us. So there is the API interface. So the system makes a call to our system, sends the invoice information to Snowfox. We do the prediction and we return the coding and then the reviewer acceptor information, and if necessary, even something else. We return that information to the API system. It receives the information, fills into the invoice for that, and then it appears to the API or business. So it's a kind of pre-coding service. And then, as Thomas explained earlier, the invoice goes to the normal reviewer acceptance process. And if there are some let's say, mistakes done by the AI, so there are, for example, there is a wrong cost center or something, then the reviewer acceptor should correct those, or the API, if there is an API check even before that, make the correction, and then the final coded invoice with also the information how the invoice was routed in the organization. So who was the reviewer, who was the approver of the invoice. That information comes to Snowfox, and we train automatically the models based on that information. And then we also report all of these operations, all of the process real time. So there is the API interface connection in place, how we can connect to the system. And currently, I think, how would I say, maybe half of our customers, they are connected through this API system or the API interface. And then the other half is connected to our system based on the file transfer, so SFTP connection, which basically works almost the same way. So the invoices are coming to us, we do the predictions, and then we return it to the system there, and everything works automatically.
Yeah. Mika, how long does it take to connect to the API automation systems?
Yes, so with the system where we have done the first connection already, so we have learned how to do it. I would say it's on average it's nowadays it's like 3 weeks, but I would say that maybe 3 to 4 weeks. When there is a new system, it takes a little bit longer. We could say that from, let's say, typically maybe 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. But after that, the next systems, it's always faster. And that's a calendar time. The working time there is only we could say that only some days. And especially from the customer side, it really does not need so much work. There is a kickoff meeting and then some testing sessions. The main work is done between us and the system provider.
Yes, sounds good.
And then, as we have presented, there is the real-time analytics, which tells online how the system works. So what are the predictions, what the AI is doing, and especially what was right, what was wrong there. And based on the AI, it's a kind of machine learning. It also works over the time. So this is just some screenshots from the reporting system. Actually, it's a quite comprehensive. So there is everything in place. So on the top left-hand side, there is an example that how the different dimensions are reported. So what on the green, how many of those predictions are right? On red, how many of those are wrong? On bottom left-hand corner, there is a one dimension over the time. So there is a 3 months period, and then you can see the kind of the learning curve and what are the results on March 21 this year for the one customer in this dimension. And then there is an example on how we show the results per invoice. So there on the green and red, you can see that what were the right predictions and what were the wrong predictions. And there are many different ways of let's say, and angles to look the reporting. Of course, you can select the timeline, supplier. If you have several companies in your organization, you can filter on those. So there are many ways of doing this. So our basic idea is to really bring the transparency of this AI and how it works. That's the main idea.
Yeah, it's like what I see interesting is that AI really works as a human. It does exactly the same work, posting those invoices, routing invoices, and everything AI does, you can see visibly. Like what human does, there is not reporting like this, that how many dimensions were posted correctly and how many dimensions were posted incorrectly. So everything is visible with the AI. So I think it's really interesting to see the quality in real life.
That's actually something what our customers have told us and gave the feedback, that this analytics is one of the most, let's say, important and also interesting part of the service, because there you can really see how it works.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's see some real customer example numbers. First is Mehiläinen, which is a private healthcare company, and they are actually receiving 300,000 non-PO invoices annually. And when we started cooperation with them, their level of automation was roughly 25%. With the coding was a little bit less, and with the routing was a little bit higher, like 30%. But most of the invoices were handled manually. And you can imagine when they are receiving 300,000 invoices annually, it requires a lot of work. And their process was that way, that the posting responsibility was in business. Like reviewer was the one who did the posting. for the invoices. And nowadays, we have been working with them actually a couple of years already now. And today, their posting automation level is a little bit over 85%. It's like 87% nowadays. And the routing automation is over 90%. And what Roope Rauhalinna, development manager, he said that this has truly exceeded our expectations and significantly decreased our manual work in accounts payable, and of course in business as well. But this is one example. Another example is called Bravido Group, and they are receiving a little bit less invoices, like 80,000 invoices annually. And they had very poor automation, like 5% their automation before starting to utilize snowfox AI. And they have exactly the same process, that posting work is done by business people. And nowadays their posting automation level is 84% and routing automation level is 93%. And yeah, same kind of results. Snowfox AI has brought us unbelievable savings in accounts payable and business units. We wouldn't survive without AI anymore. So pretty impressive numbers. And one more example, Versowood, they are receiving around the same number of invoices compared to Bravido Group. Pepita Newman, their accountant, said that implementation of snowfox AI has significantly increased our invoice automation. And it has been great to witness that AI can handle even the most challenging purchase invoices, postings, and routings. Yes, and question is that how much could your company benefit from AI in the future? Miikka, you want to talk about this opportunity?
Yes, and I start with saying that there were a couple of examples there which Tuomas presented to you. So those are our customers, and actually the volume variation what our customers are having, they are really huge. So Mehiläinen is not the biggest customer for us. There are even bigger ones. And then I think the smallest one today, the company provides for the 6,000 invoices per year and everything there between. Of course, the automation benefits are bigger when you have more volumes, but even the smaller companies with the smaller volumes, they can benefit from our service. And how to find out the benefits really is that we offer for you the free trial to test how this AI can improve your automation. And the free trial means that we need your invoice and posting data, minimum 3 months, but up to 6 months data, and that's a kind of data patch. And with that patch, we do the trial. So with 70% of that data, we train the model. Then we take the 30% of the invoices, we run those invoices through the model. It gives the predictions. So how the model thinks that these invoices should be coded, who should be the reviewer, who should be the approver. And then those predictions we compare to original postings and the routing information. And those are the ones we are then reporting to you through our analytics. So basically, your part is to provide the data for us, 3 to 6 month data, and with that we do the trial, and then we provide the results and actually an offer at the same time. So you can immediately see that how AI works with your data, and then you will know that what are the automation opportunities for you, and based on that you can calculate the business case pretty easily there. And as I said, this is the free trial from our part, and also there is no commitment in this. So we do this trial to show you how the AI works in this. Of course, NDAs and all these kind of things are done beforehand, but as I said, it's free from our side and no commitment neither.
Yes. So if you are interested to get to know that how well could AI actually automate your invoices, it's really easy. It's simple. Just connect us or send us a message, and we will help you further how you get that data and what kind of data needed and so on. So that is something we can do for free if you are interested. But yeah, I think the time is over. Slides are over. Hope you got some new information regarding AI, how does it work, and so on. So if you have any questions to us, please don't hesitate to connect, send us a message, and we will reply. But thank you so much from my part. Thank you, Miikka.
Thank you for all the many attendees there. So have a nice day and have a nice week.
Yes, thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.